Today's video is sponsored by BetterHelp. As the start of the year comes again, we can say goodbye to the holiday rush and set our sights on a much-needed rest, which can be a challenge for many of us. My feeds are flooded with ideas of how to become whatever better version of myself I choose, and the steps to get there can be overwhelming and filled with pressure. Talking to a therapist and prioritizing your mental health can help you sort through what you're feeling, set reasonable personal goals, and connect you to a safe sounding board for whatever you may be struggling with. BetterHelp is fully online, making therapy more comfortable and convenient. You'll be paired with a therapist from their diverse network of 30,000 licensed professionals with a wide range of specialties and backgrounds. And if one isn't the right fit for you, you can easily switch therapists at any time with no extra cost. Start fresh any day of the year with BetterHelp. Click the link in the description for a discount or go to betterhelp.com/CinemaSins and get 10% off your first month of therapy in the new year. "42 seconds of logos. Oh, good. You picked the worst year ever for movies to start this movie.
Prom's like in 4 days.
Oh my god. You're not asking me to prom, are you?
The sin is not that Melody is way out of Schmidt's league, but that he asks her 4 days before f***ing prom.
I don't know how to put this nicely.
An attractive girl like Melody definitely has nice ways of turning guys down. A simple "no, I'm already going with Alex" would suffice, even though no one named Alex exists or has ever existed. Using a pine cone as a decoration, or paperweight. Really, just having a pine cone on your desk.
You're not going to the prom. Boy, you lucky you even graduating.
Let me get this straight. Janko can't go to the prom because of bad grades, but he gets to graduate?
Such bullshit. You're really good at this.
Movie will never explain why super nerd Schmidt wants to become a cop instead of anything else nerds get into, like Starship Enterprise repair or whatever nerds do. The date says 10/11/11, but the time jump from 2005 told us this was 7 years later, so this should be 2012. Also, movie makers forgot how a social security number should be sequenced. Certainly there's a 555 way to display a movie SSN rather than f*** up the sequence. Whatever the f*** the caulk man on this poster is meant to be doing here. Certainly not acting like a civilian. Civilians have legs.
You guys really think there's a police matter to get your frisbee back?
I know the idea is that these 4 disc golf enthusiasts don't respect the bike cops, but the real question is, how did they get them to come over here at all to fish a disc out of the water?
You see what I see?
You mean, you guys put a zooming feature in your eyeballs that allows you to see exactly what the nature of this cigarette is from great distances?
Then you won't mind if I search your bike now, would you?
Go ahead. You won't find
With this in question being something the gang isn't hiding at all, why would he need to search the bike if the person is actively smoking an illegal substance in front of them? Furthermore, Janko easily finds some really illegal stuff in a matter of seconds, so why is this dialogue?
You forgot to read him his Miranda rights. What possible reason is there for not doing the only thing you have to do when arresting someone?
It seems absurd to me that the nerd in this partnership, Schmidt, somehow forgot this. But also, I don't want to open this can of worms on the internet because you're all entrenched in your beliefs. Not reading someone their Miranda rights doesn't necessarily invalidate an arrest. If they question the person they're detaining and they are not Mirandized, then anything they say may not be admissible in court. It's nuanced and way more complex than that. This movie is going with the tried and true get-out-of-jail-free card that all movies apply to Miranda rights.
We're reviving a canceled undercover police program from the 80s. You see, the guys in charge of this stuff lack creativity and are completely out of ideas.
Look, just because you admit it doesn't make it right. Also, needing 2 tape dispensers.
I think you idiots are perfect.
So wait, they mess up one stupid arrest and they're sent to do something super complex like undercover work? I mean, it's hilarious how you made that self-aware joke about recycling shit and pretending no one will notice and all that, but I think you actually did pull off a magic trick here by making people believe these assholes would be made undercover cops after one silly incident.
You are here simply because you look young.
Which is weird, because at least 2 students in this movie will tell Janko that he looks too old to be here. Seems like this might have been a red flag for the undercover unit to consider before putting him on this case.
Didn't somebody tell you guys this was an undercover unit?
They were told that, yes, but I keep wondering why Schmidt, the smart one, keeps his intellect to the level of Janko, the dumb one. What was the point of showing us how well prepared and knowledgeable he is if he's just going to be completely unaware of what to do in these kinds of situations? This is the guy who would have asked Ron Swanson, "Hey, what do we wear? What time do we show up? What are the rules?"
Teenage the up.
Whoa, Sudden Church is now a proper secret home base set change. I guess while the guys went to get their teenage clothes at the nearest Walmart, everyone pitched in and reorganized the pews to make room for the much lived in and very personalized desk spaces. Desk spaces that include table foosball, a thriving plant paired with a sunglassed chia bear, a collection of colorful ceramicware with plush toy, and a fuzzy pen.
Nobody in the system knows you're here.
Nobody except the people in this room, their old boss, and Schmidt's parents. But for some reason, those people don't really count. Joe Nauseum isn't trying hard enough. Now, I realize this is a weird rule, but I need to stick to my principles here. Anyone who is a fan of both Stand By Me and Cat Ballou should be shunned from society. You can like one or the other, but you get put into the ostracization zone if it's both, especially if you're like 18 in the year 2012.
Right now, HFS is contained right there at Sagan High.
The confidence of that statement would tell me that they have enough information about HFS's production and distribution. They shouldn't need to rely on a few young-looking cops to relive the nightmares of high school. The plot needs that. Reality wouldn't.
You two get to your mama house ASAP.
What?
You teenagers now. All right?
He's just now telling them about where they're going to live. If Schmidt didn't pray to Korean Jesus for the lulz and just left the church, would they have even been told about this? Also, hell, do Schmidt's parents even know they're about to move in? What if they don't have room? What if they're dead? Oh, weird. Check this out. Jenko and Schmidt have the same last 4 digits in their social security number, only with the numbers rearranged. But what's weirder is Jenko simply keeps the last 4 digits of his security number when he becomes Doug, but they change Schmidt's completely. Okay, who the f*** edited this yearbook? With a huge title that indicates Juggling Society and a dorky picture of Schmidt juggling, the paragraph underneath says, "You've heard them at school assemblies and ceremonies throughout the year. They are the talented members of the Hamilton Juggling Society." And then it starts talking about the orchestra winning awards from music festivals. Did they just take a random real yearbook and paste something about the Juggling Society over it?
Beautiful day out there, boys.
Exercise.
Dude, do you still not know the Miranda rights? You're a cop.
Schmidt is right to chastise Jenko about this, but how long has it been since they made that arrest and were thrown into undercover duty almost immediately? Feels like a day. So why is it so surprising he doesn't know this shit still? Accepting any lunch bag that puts quotes around your undercover name.
Are you two-strapping?
My backpack? Yeah.
You gotta one-strap it.
Even after getting scolded for this, Schmidt walks out with Jenko still two-strapping his backpack.
I think I shit my pants.
These guys had enough time to get up, shave, chat about coolness strategy, make a pit stop for a better car, f*** around in a parking lot, and be to school on time? They are not overachievers.
Oh, you don't care about the environment? It's kind of f***ed up, man.
Hey, will y'all shut the hell up? I'm trying to study.
I know this is an almost Twilight Zone kind of school where the nerds are popular and being like Jenko is frowned upon, but what kind of asshole studies outside and expects people to be quiet?
Which one of you is named Doug?
No, dude, I'm Brad.
Once again, Schmidt, who remember, is the guy you've been told is the prepared one, somehow doesn't know something so that the movie can do something comical with its plot.
Now we have the wrong identities, you dumbass.
Ah, yes, because the movie needs more paper-thin tension. Can't just have them switch back to the normal plan and tell the principal they were f***ing around with the name swap.
So, we are going to hold auditions for the Peter Pan part today.
Welcome to Movie School Logic, where there are only 30 days left in the year, but school goes on like it's right in the middle of it. Peter Pan auditions? When did they stage this play? During summer school?
It's not so hard to find.
Something tells me that if this phone number, along with the symbol for the exact drug they're worried about, can be found on the back of a chair in drama class, that the number and symbol are probably everywhere. And I'm guessing the police don't need to do an undercover operation to find the people responsible.
Drugs are bad, but they can have their place in the life of a professional actor.
Is something this teacher said to the students. Schmidt's cell phone makes noise, even though the sound on this device is clearly muted. Also, his fingers are touching none of the buttons needed to spell this word.
I've got a crew.
Yeah, Schmidt sure does suck at this, but we're just gonna believe that Jenko would have been any good at this either? He was a jock in high school, not a drama nerd. Wow, Jesus. Eric is working on the yearbook in near total darkness. I guess it's so it looks properly seedy when people buy product off of them. You gotta love how this box Eric pulls the HFS from also has a healthy pencil supply.
Take it here so I know you're cool.
Could this, not take place after school? Like, the whole thing? I know we don't get that marvelous tripping scene later, but by sacrificing that great scene, the movie makes more sense. And isn't that why you go to the movies? Huh, guys? Isn't it? Sacrifice a great scene for sense? Guys?
Take an hour, get the f*** out.
Presumably every other kid that has bought this drug has had to do this too. I guess all the kids and teachers at this school just think the behavior that comes along with the drug isn't that concerning.
I gotta finish the girls' volleyball page by lunch.
That's weird, since you're working on something with a heading of Sagan Scholars with nary a volleyball in sight.
We gotta throw up, just think of something gross.
Yeah, like 2 people vomiting in the same toilet at the same time when there are other empty stalls right there.
Are you guys on drugs?
In the middle of this everything's going crazy montage, the filmmakers insert an image of Grandpa playing tea time with his granddaughter and 2 women looking at a photo album. And I know that's a joke, and I'm even laughing at it, but I'm sinning it for the pure randomness.
One particle of unobtainium has a nuclear reaction with a flux capacitor. Carry the 2, changing its atomic isotoner into a radioactive spider. F*** you, science.
I can't let this go without removing a sit. But also, everyone sat in the classroom and watched this man fill the board with 4s for reasons.
We just brought down a group of wannabe thugs stripping down cars in the Garfield High Metal Shop.
This movie had Dakota Johnson and didn't nearly use her enough.
How'd you get a key in here?
Scriggs gave us one.
If you're allowed to be in here, why aren't you turning on any lights? Never throw your wallet out the car window sounds like pretty good advice. Let me ask you something though. How about throwing it at your TV? Should you do that? Huh? Should ya?
F you, Glee.
Finally, something we can agree on. This chaos hippie has decided to drape feathery weirdness from a lamp and top that questionable choice with some random jewelry, because lamps are just creative spaces to experiment with the ever-burning question of what will burst into flames when exposed to heat.
I'm 18 years old, and my mom still packs a lunch for me every day.
I sure am glad Molly told us her age for no other reason than to say how weird it is that her mom still packs her lunches for her. I'm sure it's not some other reason, like the fact that the nearly 30-year-old Schmidt is pining after a high school girl and they want to make it seem like it's not creepy. Which makes me want to circle back to this. I know that we know Channing Tatum is over 30 and doesn't look like he's under 18, but a teacher outwardly showing this much thirst in public for a student is well, I guess it's sadly par for the course these days.
Do you mind if I just put like a posting on Facebook?
Facebook.
Are y'all throwing a party? What? There's rumors in the Twitter sphere.
Oh, there is not. But I'm glad you got Ice Cube another scene of this movie. Good job. Also, why would their boss believe them? Why aren't they being closely monitored? Hell, they don't even have to closely do anything. Just hop on Facebook and stop these two menaces from f***ing up kids' lives. Do you know how stupid this is? Wait to put the ice cream in there. It's gonna get melted before anyone shows up. Good job crossing off the Jenko on this mix CD. I'm sure no one will have questions if they happen to take a look. And I know that's the joke, but considering how Jenko has become so much more detail-oriented, you'd think he'd just invent a story about a guy named Jenko who gave him this CD.
There's like no hot dudes here.
You mean the party that was so well advertised that there were rumors on the Twitterverse doesn't have any hot guys? Maybe it's your standards, man. This fight in close quarters has way too many people just standing around and thinking they can't get caught up in it. It's almost like they know it's choreographed and they can't get hurt.
When did I get stabbed?
Great question. I think we're supposed to assume the guy hit with the vase did it, but when Schmidt turned around, there was no knife. So someone else in this room is a stab-happy asshole, and the movie doesn't seem to be too worried about solving this particular mystery.
Oh, I'm so glad we're going back to get my phone.
How the f*** long have you been away just to go back to get your phone? You left in what was clearly the afternoon to go to a vineyard, and now hours have passed and you're going back just to get your phone? Having never been invited to any parties like this in my lifetime and having a circle of friends who tell me they weren't either, I continue to believe these movie parties are bullshit. Please do not tell me that you attended parties like this in the comments because I will not believe you. Also, in the age of Facebook, there is no way these two idiots weren't found out for being undercover and arrested for subjecting a third of the school to alcohol poisoning and substance abuse.
I can't sell all this shit on my own.
I know we saw young Neil tripping on discount YouTube earlier, but it seems like we'd see way more people at school on this stuff if it was the huge seller we've been led to believe it is. Even at the party, no one was seen using this new shit that Eric is apparently selling so much of he can't keep up. So the guys have to play the part of being teens by living with Schmidt's family, but they can also drive to the police palace to don uniforms and work on their shooting skills, and that's okay. Got it. Being this bold about this much cash around this many kids.
We're just about to go outside with a bunch of chemicals. We're gonna test what blows up.
Where are the f***ing teachers in this stupid movie? We're meant to believe this chat is happening long after the phone call with Molly earlier, even though she's in the same clothes, same jewelry, and at the same desk with the same items in the same place. Because a quick t-shirt change and shifting the camera angles a little was just too much to ask.
Now, your mother told me that you are undercover.
Jesus, how have Jenko and Schmidt maintained their ruse with this many people knowing about it?
We gotta get out of here. We gotta get out of here.
And they do. They get out of the shoe store without the security team stopping them and asking more questions, which seems very unlikely considering this would have been the most exciting thing for the very bored mall security team to tackle.
You're on the prom committee.
Wait, what? He is? If it doesn't have anything to do with the undercover operation and it doesn't have anything to do with Molly, why would he join the prom committee? And didn't they enroll 30 days until the school year was over? How do you get on a committee with that little time left?
Doves fly out behind you, slow motion.
Doves. Why doves?
Because doves make you look like a badass.
Yeah, getting shit on by birds as they take flight is an essential part of looking badass.
Good for you, Doug.
This seems genuine. He's genuinely happy for his mid-20s coworker to ask a teenager to prom. This is really part of the plot. Jesus
We just closed our third high school operation.
What the actual is happening in all these high schools? Show me that movie.
Your drugs are spreading to different schools now, sucker.
Honestly, what took so damn long? It was apparently already selling like hotcakes at Schmidt and Jenko's school, and there's no way they contained it there for so long, regardless of what Captain Dixon said at the beginning of the operation.
You failed to stop the outbreak, and you have no leads.
How are they supposed to stop the outbreak, since they have a limited amount of power in this investigation? And didn't Eric tell Schmidt he was going to set up a meeting with the supplier? Isn't that a lead? And what happened to the cell phone surveillance? Did it just stop supplying any info whatsoever? I know Schmidt is so deep undercover that he's taking a student out for prom and he's become chummy with the school's top dealer, but it feels like the limitations of a broad comedy are effectively dismantling the plot. Once the movie started focusing on the consequences of Schmidt and Jenko's popularity switcheroo, it's like it forgot that they were cops trying to crack a case.
I heard Eric talking on the phone yesterday with somebody that sounded very suspect about meeting up with a stuffed piñata.
Is that a code for sex?
This is what I'm talking about. We didn't see that scene, but we did see the one where Schmidt insulted Jenko and his buddies. And this conversation had to be more than what Jenko is saying it is, but the movie just treats it like a joke and moves on. Also, he heard this yesterday? They didn't turn the phone on until last night. So shouldn't the verbiage be, I heard this last night? I know that's a nitpick, but no one says yesterday when they mean last night. At least I don't. So I choose to believe everybody don't.
You're like the only guy that I can really trust.
Undercover cop and or guy who took a bet to date a girl gets told that he's the only guy the girl can trust cliche. The initials for practice mindful science is PMS, which is probably a joke on the movie's part, but I think I'll send it anyway.
It can act as an oxidizer. I didn't know that, but now I'm wiser.
Doesn't Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt realize that Zach probably did this report for Jenko, considering that he's the rhyming science guy? I guess the power of teacher boners wins out in this case.
You told me not to worry about the tickets. I thought they made us look cool.
In a school where cool kids are open-minded, environmentalist types, why would parking at a disabled spot rank as cool with anybody here? Especially this many times to get that many tickets. This is something Jenko thought would be cool on the first day before they knew what the students were like here.
Those are the guys in the park.
Jesus, is this Chekhov's biker gang?
We need to be back in 30 minutes for curtain.
But Molly was so worried Schmidt wouldn't get back in time for the show a second ago. How is there still 30 minutes until the show goes on?
It's easy time!
Hilarious joke, but since you already had an encounter with this guy earlier in the movie, it's really weird for you to riff in a manner that suggests that this is the first time you've ever seen it. This feels like you're emptying your unused joke barrel because you didn't get a chance to say it before, only now it's too late. Are any of these kids wearing seatbelts? Hell, they stashed 2 kids in the hatchback, and I don't even think they have seats, much less seatbelts. Jackass! You know what? Jenko for doing this to an innocent person in traffic, but double him for aiming a headbutt at his own shoulder. Completely missing the driver, but is still somehow successful.
Hi, how are you? God damn, you are beautiful.
This woman is so distracted by Channing's gorgeousness that she is entirely caught off guard. Forget the survival instincts that should kick in when a stranger enters your vehicle and lifts you out of it. That whole fight or flight thing is nullified when anyone is within sniffing distance of his beautiful mouth. Apparently. Holy fucking shit, the movie can't even get the words in the right order on their dun 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 moment. Oil, fuel, and... I've watched the dumbest shit happen during this chase, and each thing seemed to be dumber than the last. Here we have Jenko driving like it's a Sunday fucking afternoon, rather than watching his goddamn mirrors for the gang that is giving him chase. Somehow he misses a gunned motorcyclist with a bright fucking piñata coming up on him.
Why'd you shoot for me?
You weren't shooting, you were choking, so I had to save us.
I was gonna shoot. You always do this every single time.
What? You assholes have not been together doing this long enough for that statement to be true.
You're in too deep, man. Yesterday I found a college application on your desk.
This is a very funny line that is a perfect, silly send-up of deep cover movies. Man, these Magic Mike movies have gotten really dumb. Schmidt has been expelled from school and fired from his job, but is still staying with his parents.
Please get in the car.
These two are now ex-cops, but still decide to get in the car with angry teenagers that could kill them.
Yeah, after we made the exchange, our potential business partners got followed by some f***ing cops.
Did they not mention that one of the guys was dressed up in a Peter Pan costume? And that the other was dressed in a black hoodie that had the formula for potassium nitrate on it? And that they were driving a car with a student driver sign on the hood? Okay, they probably didn't know all those details, but wouldn't they have been able to describe some of that and totally out Schmidt and Jenko as undercover cops?
You ever use one?
We're not really gun people, man. No.
There's no way you guys could be cops.
And then the two once cops shoot with perfect accuracy, immediately telegraphing their lie about having never shot a gun before. And no one thinks twice about it. Also, my main concern is that all of a sudden he's cool with Jenko being in the club when he has never liked him for any reason.
Got this deal going down. The supplier's gonna be there. I need people I can trust.
Do you actually need these guys at all? You already have a decent crew to do a deal like this, right? Like this dude? Plus later, we're gonna see the supplier at the meetup. How many guys do you need to be at the sale?
Time to get our jobs back.
I mean, with that arsenal of supplies, it looks like you already have your jobs back. Or does the Force let you keep all this as a parting gift? Also, they've been expelled. How do they plan to attend a school function? Doesn't matter. The movie is so separated from reality that we are firmly in the science fiction genre at this point.
Your shotgun's hanging too low.
Too bad Schmidt never once pulls out a shotgun in the final 20 minutes of this movie. This guy can barely tolerate firing a regular gun, so I don't know why he needs the hidden tuxedo shotgun anyway.
Mr. Walters?
The movie expects me to believe that during their investigation, they never pinpointed this dumbass Mr. Walters as a supplier. Granted, they seem to be kind of half-assing it, but even in a half-ass capacity, they'd have figured out his involvement quickly. Hell, Schmidt and Eric were best buds for a good portion of this movie. How did they miss this?
You boys are so good at this.
Oh, yeah, cinnamon.
Now that I know they were just doing surveillance in here, what the f*** was that suggestive dialogue?
I stole some of that Bunsen burner crap from the chem lab. I threw in some of my cool deets, and it was muy delicioso.
Wait, you just put some Cool Ranch Doritos in a Bunsen burner and got the kind of thing that makes this happen? Look, I grant it's possible these biker gangs don't remember these two, but they've had 2 interactions with them in a short amount of time, and one of those was just yesterday. The biker gang knows that undercover cops followed them, but I guess they're not on high alert now with people they think are strangers.
I was in a French fry commercial when I was a kid. So people are like, you know, often say, oh, I think I know you.
Do I look like I eat French fries?
Do you have to eat French fries in order to have seen a French fry commercial?
Come to Andrew's French Fry Emporium.
Gotta admit, this is a pretty funny callback to an innocuous banner ad on the fake YouTube page we saw earlier, but now I feel unreasonably superior for discovering this Easter egg on my own. Here's a sin for making people feel superior when they don't deserve it.
What's a piece, huh?
Dog or whatever your name is. You lied to me.
How the f*** does Molly know where Schmidt is? I highly doubt Eric told her where this big deal was going down, and she wasn't on the elevator with him. So get the f*** out of here with this shit.
No, that's unfair.
It is unfair that the movie asked one of the 2 undercover DEAs to shoot you. If it was another person in the gang, the movie would be over now, and that would be the fairer thing for us all.
Tom Hansen, DEA, on your knees.
Oh man, I was hoping for Donnie Brasco, but I guess this'll do.
Guns down, all of you! Domingo, tell him!
Put them down.
Why is this situation much different from the one a second ago when Janko and Schmidt were telling the gang to put their guns down? They still outnumber the cops with guns in this room. Molly is full dead weight right now, and somehow Mr. Walters is able to carry her around during the standoff. Sure, he may be a coach and probably has some muscle somewhere, but still, carrying anything dead weight is really hard.
Little dweebs just ruined a 5-year investigation.
A 5-year investigation into fucking what? I'm guessing you infiltrated the gang to take down a bigger fish, but can I just say this is bullshit and move on?
Yeah.
Come on, you guys are Jump Street?
Yeah.
That's funny because we were actually Jump Street.
Amazing how comic banter, cameo reveals, and nostalgia can somehow make guys who have been undercover cops for 25 years totally forget the situation they're in. Did we ever get an explanation for why they put the product into piñatas? What an unwieldy place to store, like, anything.
That was a gun.
Somebody definitely got shot.
Nobody in this bathroom stall calls the actual police.
I know. Sometimes I was a jerk to you.
Skip! Channing regurgitate him. During this sequence where all the players are getting into cars, they all choose limos for some reason. I guess for the lulz. Also, why are all these limousines parked with their keys inside? Who does that? What idiot drivers actually do this?
What do you get when lithium batteries react to potassium nitrate?
Probably very little, but this is the movie and you can say whatever you want to make things go big boom if you want.
That would be a covalent bond, brother.
It's an ionic bond, but, you know, movie.
Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law.
Miranda bonding. I'm not sure how his got shot and then fell out of his pants. But the movie calls for an extra dose of comedy. So here we are looking at a bloody sausage for funsies because dicks are so hilarious. Yeah, she's 18, but it's still kind of creepy, right? Am I misreading this? These assholes don't get in any trouble for continuing to do undercover shit when they were fired. Mr. Walters' lawyer should have a field day with this shit, but yay, happy ending. Wait, when did Janko and Fugazi get so comfortable with each other that he can walk in and they kiss like this? Where was that part of the movie? The movie forgets that Schmidt was the one who shot Mr. Walters and gives the credit to Janko. I don't know what the end credits are meant to do to me, but attempting to keep my attention on this horse any longer isn't working. Okay, fine. I'll watch Channing Miss Griggs, but then I'm done with this movie forever.
Bullshit, right? The idiot flunks his senior year so he can be a dick 2 years in a row.
7 years later.
You a psychiatrist?
Well, if I was, I'd ask you why you're a statey making 30 grand a year, and I think if I was Sigmund fucking Freud, I wouldn't get an answer. So tell me, what's a lace curtain motherfucker like you doing in the stadies?
Why don't you go piss your pants again?
That was like 8 years ago, asshole.
People don't forget.
Been a while.
Yeah,
A year, I think.
approximately.
How are you?
I'm not doing so good right now.
Oh, that's too bad. Still breaking hearts.
You failed to stop the outbreak. And you have no leads.
F***ing leads are weak. You're weak.
I'm Max Fisher. I'm a former student of Rushmore Academy, which I recently got expelled from. This is my first time in a public school,
I know you probably think I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth, but I'm no elitist.
Come at me, bro.
You said if I want something, I gotta fight for it, right? Well, that's what I'm doing. I'm here and I'm fighting for something that's real for the first time in my life.